you. We were off last week. We were off last week for
Memorial Day.
nope for
We were off of Memorial Day. Sir.
no. We were not Memorial Day.
I was out of town. I had a wedding.
That's fine.
I was the best man at a wedding.
Where you went, but you were not for Memorial Day.
I wasn't gonna be here anyway.
Whatever you was gonna do, it was not for Memorial Day because Memorial Day is not
Sunday.
the original name of Memorial Day. 877-955-1061. 877-955-1061. If you can call in and educate Don Miguel, Fillmore Mike himself, on the origin of Memorial Day, and he's probably trying to think, I know there's some here, but you know, Doc don't play, right? 877-955-1061. Call in quickly and tell Mike the original name of Memorial Day and who did it. And if you could do it quickly, I'll actually give you, I'll give him something.
You gonna give him? What you gonna give him?
I'm gonna tell them after they do it. Okay. All right. 877-955-1061.
Good fact. I don't know that one.
Okay.
It's hard for radio to work like that. You usually have to say, "Hey,
no. You're gonna be surprised. It's gonna be. Let's put it like this. It's gonna be historical and conscious. Okay.
Ooh.
You know I don't play.
Call us up if you know.
87 the correct name of Memorial Day, how it started, and who started it.
That's a great one.
It is good. See? Okay. All right. 877-955-1061. He's going to watch the phones. I'm going to get going. Hello, Ann. Hello, Lady E. What's up? You good? Everybody good? Everybody good? Everybody good?
You know what I'm excited about? They got Lake Fest coming up, and I've seen some flyers with Fillmore Mike's face on it. Shay, Diddy, G,
Lake Fest coming up.
So Mike Fest is gonna, June 27th.
Okay.
Go ahead and get your ticket.
So we're going
to want to make sure you know about that. It looks like we got a caller.
Okay. All right. We got a call.
We got two callers.
All right. Two calls. All right. Thank you for calling Street Soldiers. Thank you so much. Can you enlighten us on the origin of Memorial Day?
Veterans Day.
Nope, that's not it.
For the fallen soldiers.
Nope, that's not it. That's not it. Another call. Go right ahead.
She left.
Oh, okay. 877-955-1061. If we don't get it before I guess starts, we're gonna have to wait and get it in. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Let's say hello to Lady E and the Soul. What's going on, both of you?
Good evening. Good evening.
Right.
It is a historical.
Don't say the name. Don't say it. You see, I'm doing a contest. Don't say it, Lady E, because I know you know, but you are a scholar.
Teacher. Yeah.
Scholar. What's up, Soul?
What's happening, family? How y'all doing? I just want to let everybody know I will not be performing at the 250 Freedom concert. It's been going around that I was going, do a look, but it ain't happening. I know who I am. And
add you to the list.
I will not be there. Okay.
That's good, brother. That's good. You and a whole bunch of folks ain't gonna be there. Oh, let's see if we can get this call. All right. Hi, you're on Street Soldiers. Do you know the correct origin of Memorial Day?
Decoration Day.
Hey.
Oh, you are right. But why was it called? And you know the origin, the history of it.
The history of it was the General John, I believe, John Legan. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce his last name right now. I got a lot going on.
Okay.
All right.
The core of the graves of the fallen civil rights soldiers, the Civil War soldiers with their flowers. That's what it is.
You got it.
I'm correct.
You got it. I'm gonna send you a copy of a special book called Street Soldier, One Man Struggle to Save a Generation, One Life at a Time. My book, I'm going to send it to you. I'm going to autograph it for you. And thank you for sharing the true story of Memorial Day.
Thank
and
you so much.
You are so, I love our audience. See,
but there's the Black soldiers.
Yes. Yeah.
That's right. The Union soldiers. Yep.
And they brought up, how many was it? Over 10,000 people marched.
Wow.
Yeah. That included children.
Wow.
And the soldiers They dug up the bodies of the soldiers who were just left covered over, not buried, did not have a formal burial. They
Man.
dug them up and gave them a proper burial. And then 10,000 people came to recognize, celebrate, and thank those soldiers who gave their lives, Black men.
Man.
So
And lady, I even read that they dug up some white soldiers who were not properly buried and buried them, give them a proper burial. So yeah, the origin of Memorial Day is Decorations Day, which you didn't know, because like anything else, they don't tell you your actual and true history. A few years later, they co-opted it and buried the fact that Black folks started. So I was I didn't know this, and I've been around a long time. So people tell me Happy Memorial Day. What I hit them back with? Happy Decoration Day. Happy Decoration Day.
Good to know.
Thank you so much for calling in and telling us. And I'm gonna get you that gift.
Yeah.
All right.
You know, Doc, there's another holiday coming up real soon. You might be able to do another question next week.
What's that holiday?
Juneteenth, brother.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're gonna do Juneteenth. You know, we don't. We big on Juneteenth because, well, you know, it's another one of those things.
You still gotta remind people that they free. Brother,
Look,
brother, you are free, brother.
Look.
You don't have to eat that.
Yeah, there's a lot of points to this, especially when they're trying to strip everything and take us back to 1860 right now. Okay, we got to get going here. I'm gonna read a little bit of news. We got a guest hanging right there. All right, so thank you for sending this. Remembering Clarence B. Jones, the architect behind Martin Luther King's "I Have a Dream" speech. Clarence B. Jones, the attorney and advisor who helped shape Martin Luther King Jr.'s "I Have a Dream" speech, has died at the age of 95.
Wow.
May 22nd, I believe, is when he died. Born in 1931, January 8th. Jones' mother was a maid, gardener. His father was a chauffeur and a gardener. I'm going to go. I tell you what, we're going to spend the second hour on Dr. Jones, because he was a very close friend of ours, very close friend of mine, very close friend of Street Soldiers, very close friend of Alive and Free, and the Omega Boys Club. So we're going to spend the second hour talking about him. So yeah, just hang on for that, Clarence.
Love you, Clarence Jones. Love you, brother. Love you, love you, love you.
Yeah. Save all of that. All right. Pope Leo, this Pope gonna get me back to church. Okay, Pope Leo the 14th makes historic apology for the Vatican's role in slavery. All right. Something had never been done before. He issued a historic apology for the Vatican's role in legitimizing slavery, acknowledging that the Holy See failed to denounce the practice for centuries. The apology, published Monday in his inaugural encyclical, marked the first time a pope has explicitly apologized for the Vatican's authority to help justify the enslavement of, infidels, as they call them, by the European monarchs. All right, it is impossible not to feel deep sorrow when contemplating the immense suffering and humiliation endured by so many, in stark contrast to their immeasurable dignity as persons infinitely loved by the Lord, wrote the Pope. For this, in the name of the Church, I sincerely ask for pardon. All right, never happened before. Never. I'm still waiting on.
As someone who's been talking bad about the Catholic Church for a long time on this radio show, I hope I accept that and appreciate that. And yeah, that's nice to hear.
When I first found that out, I'm like, a little devout altar boy. I'm finding out what the church was about is slavery. The Pope. I'm like, oh hell, I'm gonna press on there. All right, but I will say thank you, and thank you, because I knew it. And yeah. Okay, yes. You got anything before we go? We're gonna get going. All right.
Well, I just want to make sure that people know that we are, here live on 106 KMEL right now, but we are also live on YouTube at Stay Alive and Free. So go ahead and make sure that you like, subscribe, tell your friends, and you can always take us on the go. You can watch us on YouTube, or you can listen on Spotify and all the places that you stream your favorite shows, like Street Soldiers.
All right, this is Gun Violence Month. This is Gun Violence Prevention Month, Awareness Month, the whole bit. And this is Ann again. Ann is wonderful with these topics because she finds out what's going on, and she's a doctor of the great. So we're going to spend some time on that, and we have a special guest joining us, who is going to talk about her group and what they are doing about trying to stem the tide of gun violence. And this is the first time me seeing her. Hello, Samantha Zenober. Is that how you say it? You got to unmute. Yep, you got to
Hold on. Hi, can you hear me now?
unmute. Loud and
Yes.
clear. Thank
Oh,
you.
great. Yeah, it's Zinneber. You did pretty good though.
Accent on the first syllable. Zenober.
That's right, Zinneber. Yeah. So nice to be with you all.
Yes, yes. And I want to say, even though it is a week late, happy Decoration Day. Something which nobody knew. So I gotta like put it in people's consciousness. But,
Okay, Decoration Day.
yeah.
Well, I just wanted to highlight, the reason why this topic right now is so important is one, Street Soldiers is always talking about gun violence prevention, but
That's our
this
bread and
week
butter.
specifically, June 7th, June 5th through the 7th is called We Wear Orange, right? Wear Orange. And it's to honor the survivors and to build community with those working to end gun violence during the Wear Orange weekend. And so that's how I kind of learned about more of the group that Samantha's with. And then there's also Everytown that's does a lot of work, prevention work. So I just wanted to share some of those resources. So Wear Orange, Everytown, and then Moms Demand Action.
Yeah.
Do you prefer Sam or Samantha? Which one?
You guys can call me Sam.
Thank you for joining us, Sam.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be with you.
Your group is called Moms Demand Action.
That's
And
us.
you want to hear all about that. Now, I just want to say this. Our bread and butter is violence prevention. I
Yeah.
think when I had a conversation with you, that's what we do. We try to, one of my pet sayings is one person can do a lot of damage and one person can do a lot of good.
Yeah.
And we know damage. In fact, I'm not going to read this, but I just want to show you this list. I just went back and researched. I don't know if people can see this because of type of, just I keep notes on violence. And when I got to 35 in the last couple of months, I did. And I just want to read a couple of them. I know people don't like hearing this stuff because it's depressing, but you got to know,
Yeah.
right? Former Virginia Lieutenant Governor killed his wife and himself.
Right.
8 children shot and killed in a Louisiana mass shooting.
Yeah.
All right. A mass shooting near a North Carolina middle school left 2 dead. Man was going to pick up a 7-year-old daughter from after school care, and he was shot dead by a driver who wanted to merge. The ultimate road rage. All right. Former police officer was arrested for allegedly planning a mass shooting at a New Orleans festival. 1 killed, 5 wounded in a mass shooting at a mall in Baton Rouge. 9 people were injured in a mass shooting near. Only got to number 8. If I go, it'll take the rest of the show. My point is, violence goes on seemingly every. I guess there's a phrase about how many, so on and so forth. And some of these, it doesn't matter where you are, and that's not the world violence that we live in. So I see why you might want to get involved in the group that you're in. Tell us about Moms Demand Action, how you got involved and what you're trying to do.
Yeah, thank you for that. It is true that all of it would take much more than I think the radio time you have tonight to go through all the shootings, and we know that the headlines aren't even the complete story here in America. Moms Demand Action is a grassroots movement of Americans fighting for public safety measures that protect people from gun violence. It's a network of over 11 million supporters across the country. We have a chapter in every state. There's over 700 groups, including the San Francisco group, which I am a part of and so proud to be a part of. And it's a movement of moms, dads, students, families, concerned citizens, and survivors working together to end something that we know is preventable and is uniquely an American crisis. So I'm happy to be here to talk about it. It is Wear Orange. Thank you. I don't think I caught the name of whom is speaking, who was introducing the Wear Orange concept, but it's a beautiful time of year. National Gun Violence Awareness Day is usually the first Friday of every June. It sort of came about in 2015 after a girl, Hadia Pendleton, was shot and killed in Chicago. It was really started by, like so many of our great ideas in this country, by teenagers, her friends who wanted to honor her life. Her favorite color was orange, but they also said, hey, you know, like orange is the color we would wear if we were going to go hunting to try to tell people not to shoot us. So it's a powerful color, and it's worn across the country around this time of year to help raise awareness about gun violence and to elevate the people who are working to end this crisis. So I'm really happy to be part of it.
What made you want to get involved?
You know, like so many Americans, I think it's hard to find a person in this country now that hasn't been impacted by gun violence in some way. In 2012, when Moms Demand Action started, I had just had my second child, and I was living in New York City with my husband and our kids, and that's when the Sandy Hook shooting happened, when all of those first graders were shot and killed in their classroom. And I remember crying and thinking, how could that happen? And just searching for something to get involved with. So I joined a Facebook group. It was really early on when that started. I think the woman who started Moms Demand Action started it also right after that shooting. And at the same time, Mike Bloomberg was starting mayors for gun safety in New York City. So those two organizations ended up merging, and we have Everytown for Gun Safety and Moms Demand Action. They're separate, but together. It's a network. And then I moved with my family here in 2016 to the Bay Area. And in 2017, the Parkland shooting happened, and I remember watching those teenagers stand up on national television and cry and ask adults to do something. And that's when I felt compelled to really get involved. And I went to the first meeting I could find, and it was a Moms Demand Action meeting. It was a meeting that was a program that Moms Demand Action has that's called Be Smart for kids. And it's a secure firearm storage public health program. And it really resonated with me. I grew up in Utah, and my mom was a hunter, and so we had a gun in our home. And one of my best friends in high school died of gun suicide. And then when my daughter was in second grade, her school had to have a lockdown because a neighbor had ended up calling the FBI on himself, saying he had a chip implanted in his head and he was programmed to commit a mass shooting. And he had a scope rifle aimed at their field where she had PE every day, and had 600 rounds of ammunition. So, you know, you kind of think you live in San Francisco and maybe you're safe from gun violence in certain communities or neighborhoods. And the truth is that when we have the gun laws in place that we do, it's very hard to be safe in America, anywhere, as we've seen play out. As you mentioned in those headlines, you can see it. It's very hard. You can't go to a music festival. You can't go to the grocery store. You can't go to church. You can't go almost anywhere and be totally able to feel free from that fear of, could something happen? So I don't want to live in fear. That's what got me involved. I'd like to see that be different for all of us. And the good news about this, in my opinion, is it's very actionable. It is a preventable crisis. And what gives me hope every day is the work that Moms Demand Action is doing, because it may feel overwhelming when we look at it from a larger picture, the federal picture. It doesn't feel like there's been a ton of meaningful change at the federal level, but when you look at a state by state level, so many things are happening that gives me hope. That so many laws are changing, so many things are being put in place because everyday Americans are standing up and saying enough is enough. This is out of control.
First of all, I want to thank you for caring enough. Our number one rule for living, not rule for dying, is there's nothing more valuable than an individual's life. That is the first thing. And it's funny, people will say, well, that should be obvious. Well, it's not obvious, right? And when the young people come to us, because young people have said, I'm not going to live to be 30. I'm not going to live YOLO. You only live once. They have been fatalistic in their approach, right? And a bunch of other things that they said. So we want to tell them right off, but there's nothing more valuable than an individual's life. And as Lady E likes to say, there's nothing more valuable than your life.
Yeah.
My life. So we put life first. And that's what you've done. And America has a violence problem, but specifically has a gun violence problem. I mean, that's the way all the initiatives have been framed, right? A gun violence problem. Let's talk about, was your march yesterday?
Yeah, we had our annual bridge walk. Yeah, we are lucky. During Wear Orange, it's nice to live in a place that has a big, beautiful orange bridge. So we got to take advantage of our orange bridge, and it was wonderful. We had community partners, we had survivors, we had a lot of students this year get up and speak at our rally that happened at Vista Point on the Marin side of the bridge. And then we walked across the bridge. And it's always one of my favorite days of the year. People give you honks, and you can see, the whole community comes out.
And there's a couple of events I said. We want to preview all these events first so we get further into the conversation. I'm glad you had a great turnout yesterday.
Yeah.
It shows that people do want people to live and do want something done about particularly firearm violence. And then you said there's something coming up next weekend. And why don't you just get all that out?
Yeah, we have a press conference at City Hall in San Francisco on Friday, June 5th at 11 a.m. We'd love anyone to come join us if this is especially an issue that is impacting you, that is bothering you. We'll have a lot of great speakers from the community. Stephen Sherrill's office is hosting it for us at City Hall. So we're really grateful to him and his team. And that's always a great day. Sometimes City Hall, they'll light up the lights orange, which we appreciate. And then on June 20th, it's funny because I think a lot of the country will recognize National Gun Violence Awareness Day as June 5th, but really it's kind of a Wear Orange season. It's like a month for us. But June 20th, we have the Rock the Ride event, which is a walk and a ride benefit in Napa, which is great. And a lot of community partners will be there. And it's a beautiful day to come out and be in community with people. And all of the funds that are raised for that go between a bunch of the gun violence prevention organizations that are involved, including Brady and Moms Demand and Students Demand and I believe Giffords. So a lot of the groups that are kind of at the forefront of gun violence prevention in the Bay Area.
And folks, do not bring a gun to the gun violence prevention.
Please don't. Yes,
okay,
please don't.
Do that, okay? Firearm violence has officially become a public health crisis in the United States. I think that happened a few months ago. And the hope was that framing just the profound impact and pervasive impact of gun violence in our country can firmly take it out of the realm of politics and put it in the realm of public health where it belongs.
Yeah.
That was the hope. I don't think it's been realized at all. And do you have this Moms Demand action have some things that you like to see happen when it comes to the firearm? Because everybody got one.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's very prolific. There are like more guns than children and more guns than dogs. Guns have officially become the leading cause of death for children in America under 18 years old. So we're really in the thick of things here. I mean, what we're working on every day is strengthening laws, making common sense laws a reality state by state, because we have such a difficult time getting things passed. Unfortunately, our Congress is a bit they've dragged their feet on this, and we just won't tolerate it anymore. So we are taking it to the states, and luckily, this is just it. Really, most Americans want to see stronger gun laws in place. So we're having a lot of success.
Well, there's just so much. Like when you look at the data, so if you go to gunviolencearchive.org, their numbers are it's just really scary, but it's also gives you the proof, right? So
Yeah.
they have it range, so children from 0 to 11 who have been killed or injured by the guns, and then you have 12 to 17 who've been killed or injured. And so you're looking at the 3 to 4, and then you add it up, so like 4 to 5,000 children under 18 per year. And you're looking at like the mass shootings. So in 2024 that was 503 mass shootings, and then the year before 659, and those numbers have not
And
changed.
it's only in America.
Right?
Yeah.
It
Only
is
in America. And that's
crazy.
not mentioned suicide because
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the majority of gun deaths in America.
yeah.
Heartbreaking. And
It is heartbreaking because it's not life.
well, and that's why I really celebrate Moms Demand Action, because I've seen you in action as well at all these different events. So I know that you really care about the community and are really trying to make the changes happen. But I think for us, it's like, how do we do it?
Well, Sam, let's throw it open. We're going to have people
Yeah.
calling. We have our
Yeah.
violence prevention prescription
Yeah.
that we know works, and it probably involves something that a lot of people don't want to do.
Yeah.
But I'll say that. I will say this before we get into 800 877-955-1061. Call and tell us, what do you think can be done to reduce, prevent, get rid of, because I want it all done, gun violence in a country where everybody's got a gun. That's the issue. The biggest risk factor in violence is firearms. Period.
And Sam, I'd like for you to know the voice that you were hearing with all that information, seeing you. That's Ann. That's the lady behind the camera.
Oh, Ann,
And
the lady behind the camera.
Yeah, that's whose voice you're hearing. That's
Thank
Ann.
you. It's nice to hear you, Ann.
Thank you.
And again, the only reason we're doing this is we want people to live. Yes, sir.
What question is, how much is gun violence and the lack of gun safety knowledge, does that play a part in anything, or is it just two separate entities or factors?
You can take a stab at that. I know my answer.
Okay. Yeah, I think they're hugely related. I think I was mentioning earlier that Moms Demand Action has a public health campaign that's solely focused on secure storage. And I'm guessing when you're talking about firearm safety, you're talking about all of the things that go into how do we define what is safe when it comes to a firearm. So what Moms Demand Action stance on that is that if you are going to make the choice to become a gun owner, if you have a gun, if you are a current gun owner, the gold standard is making sure that firearm is secured. And what we mean by secured, it is that it is locked, and whatever locking mechanism that is not accessible to anyone else in your household or outside of your household, especially but you, and that your ammunition ideally would be stored also separately and locked. And now, it's actually California law as well, which is great. I feel lucky to live in California. I come from Utah, where that is not the law. That is not the law of the land there. But California law does require that here. And we can see it in the data because we have a lot of states to compare data with. And we can see that these secure storage laws actually do save lives. They do prevent access from minors. They do prevent access from crimes. A lot of guns can be stolen if they're not secured, and then crimes can be committed. People can die from that. So we're seeing those kinds of laws really, they do make a difference.
877-955-1061. Give us a call and tell us your take on how you think we can prevent gun violence in a country where everybody's got a gun. And I would imagine, like, just to answer your question, all these things I read, the Indianapolis prom shooting, the campground shooting, the prom, the Tennessee man upset with the roommates for not paying his rent, pulled out his 9mm and shot him. Okay, I'm sure they knew how to store a gun. The issue wasn't that the gun wasn't stored.
Yeah.
The issue was that they figured the gun was necessary to solve the issue that they had with the person.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there are some, like, the youngster who stumbles on the gun, and pulls it out and daddy didn't put it away. That's probably a very small percentage when it comes to the overwhelming problem we have with gun violence in the United States. So, and I want to say this. I got to say this. This isn't even a Second Amendment argument for me. All right. You can't. It's American. That's as American as apple pie, unfortunately. But it is the biggest risk factor. Now, we've had people saying, and I will quote this gentleman, Charlie Kirk, who said, "Well, we're gonna have a Second Amendment. Folks are gonna die." That's what he said. The price of having a Second Amendment is lives are going to be lost by gun violence. So apparently for him, the two went hand in hand. And I'm not going to talk about. So we just got this huge problem, right? So I admire anybody that wants to get in and say, well, maybe. And Mike, the big thing for me is, what did we learn about guns when we was coming up?
Play with guns.
No, we don't learn to play with guns.
You gonna pull it out?
If you're gonna pull it out, you got to use it. If you're gonna pull it out, you got to use it. That's what we were taught.
Right.
If you're there.
I know a lot of people that.
Oh yeah. I'd rather be caught with it than without it. Yep. Right. I'd rather be judged by sick. No, there's all these little phrases we got.
Wow.
So we learned to. That's what guns are for. If you got an issue, guns mess with your thinking. And you got a gun, you ain't talking. You only gonna talk for so long.
Wow.
Right? So that's true. That's all true. And I got into this work, Lady E got into this work because kids were dying by guns. So I hate guns. Because they kill I'm into so many funerals now, but now everybody, it's the American thing to have a gun. So how do we figure this out?
You said multiple times. You said it's an American apple pie.
Yes.
Is it in our? Because my first time I heard about a mass shooting was Columbine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did it happen before then, or was it just like what is the phenomenon? 500 shootings, mass shootings is crazy.
The law got changed.
No, well, let me hold.
Wait,
let me before that. Let's play like this.
Yeah.
Let's before that. America is a gun-loving country.
Right.
They just love guns. Okay, they got a love affair with guns. People go to bed with their guns, sleep with their guns.
Yeah.
They got gun racks. So America just loves guns. All right.
Safe.
Yes, so people you can kill. Wild Wild West is all about guns, right? So people that don't have, it's just, and now I say American is apple pie. I mean that.
No, seriously.
I don't know if it was the first. That was the first big one, Columbine, but that was a school shooting. There have probably been mass shootings before. I don't know if they call them mass shooting. What was the one in Colorado where?
It's Columbine.
No, not that. No, the one no in it was Oklahoma, and it was like this It's so hard to keep track of all this. It
I
was
know.
like disenchanted with the government, and he went in and shot up a whole bunch of. That was a mass shooting, right? But Columbine was a school,
Yes.
right? And you
I
just
was in high
expect
school
that
when
to
that
happen at a school, and that was the first one. It's like, ooh, maybe we got
1979.
now. And some Sam can help me with this, but that doesn't seem really to matter with people.
No,
Matter.
I think it's one of these things where it's funny because there is this conception that, we hear this a lot in this work is, oh, the only way to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. And this, you were kind of talking about it, Dr. Marshall, like this, well, if people are going to just kind of arm themselves to prevent something happening to them. But I think this is a myth that we've been sold by the gun lobby and by gun manufacturers, and it's kind of crazy how long and how much we've tolerated. Because the truth is that if more guns everywhere made us safer, then America would be the safest country on earth because we have more guns than we have kids or dogs or any of that combined. And instead, we have a gun homicide rate that is 26 times higher than any other high-income country on the planet. So, and we're dying at extraordinary rates. Our kids are dying at extraordinary rates just from guns. So we know that this is a lie that has been fed to us, and it's been fed to us by a very strong gun lobby that is made up of the gun manufacturing companies.
And to that question, how you tell a good guy from a bad guy?
Right, exactly.
You tell a good guy from a bad guy. Dude walking down the street, I can't tell if he's a good guy or a bad guy. I know in case he's bad, I got somebody mess with me. The mentality is oh, look, we just got this love affair with guns, and we think guns are a way to solve the issue, right? And I'm not just talking about, firearms. The world is full of violence, and they just use bigger guns.
Well,
Because they figured a way to solve
I
the
think-
problem is with guns or
I
rockets.
just want to
or
say,
bombs.
I just want to say, there are words that we use that either kind of color or fix or do something to make things justifiable or acceptable or something. The lies that they don't feed us lies. Nobody can feed you a lie. People tell lies and people accept the lies.
Yeah.
So when we start talking, when we really use the language like it is supposed to be used, instead of manipulate the language, use the language to manipulate, to control. But if we use it like it's supposed to be used, say it like it really is, then we're going to do something different.
Yeah.
Because you cannot tell a leader in Congress that we are accepting the lie that you're telling us.
Yeah.
You can't tell them that. Nobody's going to say to one of the leaders, we know this is a barefaced lie, but we're going to go ahead and accept it.
Yeah.
But you feed us lies and we eat them. And you're not going to say that either. But that's easier to take and manipulate in our heads than to accept what's really happening. We are told lies. There are liars that are putting lies out there, and then there are human beings that are accepting the lie and making that lie true.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say true.
What?
Self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah.
It's not even a prophecy, but we make it that.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way we can justify what's happening. So,
gotta use that to justify.
but we can't use the English, the language in a way that's true. because it ain't.
Certainly is not. Yeah.
I'm gonna give you a
And,
real.
and if we keep, so the only way we can keep doing it is to make it right. But you can't even make it right because it's wrong. But we got to work with it because it's still happening. You can't stop them from doing something wrong by telling them it's wrong, because then they're going to tell a lie, and we what? Buy into it? You would not spend a dime on a lie.
Yeah.
Hey, lady, so well said. So well
Yeah.
said.
I know. Yeah. See, right. Cause see, and now I'm on my box.
No,
I'll hit the site. I'll hit the
Hello?
mute
phone
button.
call. We got a phone
I'm
call.
just saying.
So well said. Yeah, you're on Street Soldiers. We're talking about guns, gun violence. What can we do? You got an idea? Give me a thought. Yes, sir.
Dr. Marshall?
Yes, sir. Oh, Greg, what's up, man?
Hey.
Go ahead.
Yeah, how's it going?
Trying to
I would say gun violence, as far as gun violence, I'd say probably me personally, I would really take a look and maybe tap into, or if I was law enforcement or even just regular people if possible, the black market. Because there are so many guns that are sold, gangs have them, gangsters, drug dealers, people doing wrong. They shouldn't be in the hands, but they do have them. I would say that'd be a big place to start and kind of see where they're coming from, who's selling them, what they're selling for, where they send them to, where they're getting for them. Because I'll just say I'm on radio and stuff. So I'll just say I was in a living situation where I was not in the best area, and I was advised to get a firearm, but I went about it the correct way, and I didn't really follow through on it. But I heard gunshots there on the regular. I met some people who knew some folks that got shot. I saw some folks. I know them that well, but I think I saw them before they got shot. Even recently, kind of where I'm at now, this morning I heard all these, sound like it was donuts, these tires screeching and cars speeding, flying. I saw a note in the app on my phone that there was a shooting in a parking lot, maybe just a couple of blocks away from me. And a young man, he was from San Andreas, but he was shot, he was killed. And one main thing about guns is that in order for a gun to shoot or kill somebody, the trigger has to be pulled, the safety has to be off, the safety will be broken. But guns, they don't kill people by themselves. It's people. People kill people with guns, not guns themselves. It's people that use guns to kill people.
Yeah.
But I would say,
I wish they would fight. I wish they would fight. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. People with guns kill people extremely efficiently. Yeah.
Thanks for the call. And one thing about this gun violence, this thing, it's not a hood thing. It's a everything. Suburban, you name it. Hi, you're on Street Soldiers. What can we do about this gun violence?
But say, how did the Union soldiers feed the South? They used guns.
Yeah, they did. And it produced death. I'm just saying, guns kill people. War kills people. It's a violent world. Violence is the way to solve it, the problem, and they use guns. Right? Yes, I'm not gonna disagree with that. But that's not the question we're asking.
He is right. I mean, he has a point.
What's the point?
His point is that without military warfare,
right?
Whatever, not I'm gonna say
people
the
die.
North won beat the South. Yeah, using guns. Right.
Yes, war produces death.
Right.
And I don't want death.
And you're totally right. Yep.
Because I don't want death. All right. Okay. I want people to live. And in many ways, the young people I work with, they're just imitating the world.
Well, that's one of my questions is
gang members will tell you is we at war.
But see, that's one of my questions is that people talk about that all the time as far as is life imitating art. And far as my point is that video games create, I think, an illusion of, I could just restart. But video games been out. I mean, it's only been out for 30, 40 years.
Right.
People been killing people.
Violence is historical.
Right.
Absolutely.
Got you.
It's historical. It's
Okay.
profitable. It
Right.
makes money for people.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
Violence, people believe men's nature is to be violent.
Right.
All right. We need a place where people didn't use violence and believe that you can't kill an enemy. You know, violence only begets violence.
Facts.
Your homeboy gets killed, you're going to kill somebody else. That's why I don't want to kill nobody. Right?
Right.
Right? When I grew up, and Sam, I said this, when I grew up in South Central, I didn't go to a funeral of any of my homeboys. It's because we didn't have no guns.
Yeah. It was a lot harder to get guns
We
then.
had a lot
Yeah.
of fights. Adults had guns. We didn't yet. In fact, it wasn't manly to have a gun. We talk about coming from the shoulder.
Right.
We fought, and then we were best friends. Guns ruined South Central. Guns and crack. All right, you're on the air. I'm sorry. This is my bread and butter, trying to keep people alive and free. Hi, you're on Street Soldiers. What can we do about
just
this
hung
gun
up.
violence? She hung up. Okay, Sam, you got me going.
No, well, I hope it gives you some sense of hope. Like there's been a bunch of things that have been touched on, and like one of the reasons why I love Moms Demand Action and Everytown for gun safety and spend so much time dedicated to those two entities is because they really do dive into the data, and they look at really across the country, okay, where can we make a difference? Where can we? And here in California, just recently, the California Assembly passed AB 2047, which is a Firearm Printing Prevention Act. Right now we're seeing a lot of guns being 3D printed, and those guns there's no background checks on those, there's no regulation of those firearms, and law enforcement is finding that more and more of these printable guns have been at crime scenes and have killed people. So the California legislature, the Assembly, just passed this, and it's going to require that consumer 3D printers sold in California include existing technology capable of blocking attempts to print firearms and illegal gun parts, including the conversion devices, which can turn pistols into machine guns. So it focuses on accountability upstream to the manufacturers and allows legitimate innovation of 3D printing to continue, but it is going to prevent it's going to hold some kind of manufacturing accountable, so we can trace these guns so that there is a backstop to that. And it will go to the Senate now, but that's a meaningful thing that has just passed. Right before that bill was passed, we got a bill passed that made it illegal for Glock, the manufacturer, to sell their pistol, which they've known for years and years can be easily converted with just a small little plastic piece to be a machine gun. And they wouldn't change their manufacturing. Think about all of the recalls on baby cribs and all kinds of other consumer products that cause death. But these gun manufacturers are never held accountable for the products that are killing people every day, 130 approximately Americans a day. But now Glock can't sell those pistols in the state of California. And what happened is that passed, and guess what? Glock is now working on changing that so that it can't be done. So, I mean, these are real things. This is really going to move the needle, because those are guns that we know are responsible for the deaths of people.
What I love about you trying to save people's lives.
Yeah.
You do everything you can not to have to go to a funeral, not
Yeah.
to have a headline, not to have. That's what we love about you and Moms Demand Action and some of the guests we had before. You hear all of these reasons, but that's okay. I see it out there. We're going to do whatever we can, whether it change guns laws, firearm safety, anything that can save somebody's life. Because what people don't understand is that can be your child.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because when they start shooting, what we learned coming up, Mike, bullets don't have no name,
Man.
right?
Yeah.
Right? They don't have no name, right?
Man.
No.
Wrong place, wrong time. Well, no, you in the right place.
A lot of people that
Somebody is doing the wrong thing. It has
Man.
nothing to do with being in the wrong place, right? And that's what we love about you. And I mean, I salute you so much.
Well, I salute you. You guys, the work that Alive and Free does is really the work that we know also really moves the needle in this movement and in this work. Getting young people engaged in a different way, thinking, to your point, like, the guns are there and everyone has the choice in this country if they're going to be a gun owner or not, if they're going to pick one up, if they're going to have it in their home. It's that conversation in their head in that moment, that's going to change it. And talking to young people every day about these issues is,
and on this show.
and on this
That
show.
was great. And I'm gonna tell you the most wonderful thing that I've heard, since guns are the number one risk factor, is when a young man comes up to me and say, "Doc, I don't want no gun. I don't want no gun. It's not good for me. I know if and they'll tell you, I know my mentality if I have a gun."
Yeah.
You know, that puts a target, and actually they said that puts a target on me. You know, having a gun, they will say that to me. That is like good as gold. So look, we gotta go. Thank you so much for this. Oh, I can't say it. You're coming back. We're gonna get you back. We got all.
So I want to come to the studio. I got to see where this magic happens.
Get you, bring all the moms.
I will. You'll have a full studio of moms, mothers and others, as we like to say.
Everybody else who want to do something about gun violence. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you all for your work.
What's happening?
All right, we're going to keep up the conversation. Go ahead and visit us at YouTube Live at Stay Alive and Free. And you can always visit our website, stayaliveandfree.org.
We'll be back, everybody. All right, Alive and Free, Street Soldiers Radio. We are back for the second hour. What a wonderful, wonderful first hour. I want to say thank you so much to Sam Zinober with Moms Demand Action. Our first show of June, Gun Violence Awareness Month. Wear orange. I want to thank them for caring about people, about wanting to do something about gun violence, of not accepting that, you know, it's that's just the way it is. That's the way it is. I'm really proud of them. And thank you for finding them, and we're gonna get them. We're gonna get them back. All right. Whew. My phone's blowing up. People giving me texts all over the place, and I can't respond because I'm on the air. All right, this hour, we want to talk about a very special person who passed away. We alluded to him at the beginning of the first hour of the show. We want to talk about the one and only Clarence B. Jones, Dr. King, personal speechwriter, and his attorney, somebody who did the first, 6, 7 paragraphs of the I Have a Dream speech. You know, Clint, even I say his name, that's the closest I'll ever be to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah.
And I mean, he won the, you know, Presidential Medal of Freedom. I mean, you know, he was there. He was there. He was with the only one, the one and only Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And I'm doing this hour, not just for that, but as much as he was our friend. He was our friend.
Yeah.
He was a friend of the show. He was a friend of the Live and Free Omega Boys Club. He was a friend of my university, University of San Francisco. And you know, I was trying to describe it to somebody that said, I met historical figures. You guys know I met Muhammad Ali, right? You know, there's a picture of Rosa Parks and me on my desk at work. And I met other people, but Clarence B. Jones, he's just not a part of me. He's in me. He's in me. So we're gonna just pay a Street Soldiers tribute to him. There are, you know, he wrote a book called, several books. One of the last book he wrote was called The Last of the Lion. And he might be the last of Dr. King's inner circle. I think only is Andrew Young is left. And Jesse Jackson passed a little while ago, but he wasn't really in the inner circle, although he was part of it. And so I didn't even know Dr. King had a lawyer until one day I got an invitation to a meeting, a lunch meeting in Palo Alto. And there was a group of older gentlemen. And actually, and it's funny, they call themselves the old black guys. And they got together once a month and had lunch. And I walked in there, and there was some of the most distinguished gentlemen, I'm using the word gentlemen, that I'd ever met. And one of them, two of them I met there. One was a gentleman named Roy Clay, who I found out later was the black pioneer in Silicon Valley.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I never heard of him.
Wow.
Never heard of him.
Yeah.
And they went, Roy Clay, I mean, he was like, yes, the first guy down there, first black man down there. And that day I met Clarence Jones.
Wow.
And, you know, we spent the rest of the afternoon talking, and then this had to be 15, 16 years ago,
Wow.
maybe a little longer. And we just became boys, me and Clarence. So I'll get to more of that. Let's hear a little bit about, I hope the soul comes back because I want him to talk about Clarence too. You talk about him, Lady A, you talking about him, and then we're going to show some clips of him from the Boys Club, coming to talk to our young people because he loved young people, and some clips of him on the show. So, Lady E, you can start talking about the one and only Clarence B. Jones.
Dr. Jones, Clarence B., what a gift he was to us. To have the attorney who worked side by side with Dr. Martin Luther King, was just incredible. I mean, that's better than some of the celebrities. That was better than some of the celebrities that show up in the Bay Area. But he was just a walking, talking, breathing history lesson. Just his journey, a gentleman who had met, worked with, been with, touched the lives of some of the most amazing, powerful people, as well as being in some of the most incredible, dangerous situations. And he would just sit and tell the story just like he was sitting in the kitchen and everybody sitting around listening as he talked about that riot in Attica,
Yes.
the prison riot in Attica, or uh, Dr. King talking to Mahalia Jackson,
Yep.
you know, and then who was the Dale? What's his name? The,
Sorry, I say that
you
again.
weren't paying attention.
Well, I was trying to line up.
Who was the one that sang Dale?
Oh, Harry Belafonte. I'm
Harry
sorry.
Belafonte. Talking about Harry Belafonte, just like he just left him. He was just talking to him just a minute ago. It was just amazing, the stories, the journeys, and the way he took us on journeys with him, with some of the most infamous people ever. And it's quite the gentleman.
And you want to say a few words about
And he was tall. I just remember how tall he was. And when well, I guess what was so, I don't know, special when I think about him is that he actually came into the Street Soldier studio,
Yeah.
you know, and that's where I met him first. And I could just hear his voice, you know, Joe. You know, it's kind of a little raspy. Joe.
Dr. Joe?
Yeah, yeah. But he's just able to be candid, right? To call out the situations as they are, as they were, and to give real solutions of how things can change. I always thought that was really significant about him. Um, I think about how when yeah, so just being in the presence of him and then understanding that he helped to write the speeches and was a part of the civil rights movement, and the fact that these aren't just pictures that are in black and white, that these are issues that affected people that we care about that are still alive, that, you know, Dr. King was taken before, you know, his time, where Clarence B. Jones, the last of the Lions, lived until 95
Yep.
and kept fighting, right? I think about that and how we as a collective have to keep fighting, have to share his stories and have to have these conversations, and he never stopped. Born in 1931,
Yep.
and was able to fight and make changes. Yeah, it's incredible. I agree with Miss Estelle. I want to second that. Like, he was better than the celebrities. You know, these are real people, thinking and doing things to help people to make changes, for a better world. Yeah.
Well, some of us take all this for granted.
Yeah.
We
Well,
take all this for granted. You know, we take the abolitionist movement when people we take it for granted. You know, we take all of those resistance. I call it the resistance for granted.
yeah.
We take the 60s for granted, which is why you getting shoved back now, right?
Yeah.
But more you take those people for granted. People did that.
Yeah.
People went out there, put their lives on the line. I mean, it's not, it's not a walk in the park. They put,
Yeah.
you watch the Edmund Pettus Bridge and the march over there and see John Lewis and they get beat in. You watch Eyes on the Prize and you watch the Freedom Riders. They did that. You
Yeah.
want to stay in your house?
They
You
did
ain't
that.
going nowhere. You ain't.
Yeah.
These people believes so much in freedom.
Yeah.
And I will add the American ideal that all men are created equal.
Yeah.
You know, that
Yeah.
I'm going out there, I'm going to be on the front line and
Yeah.
risk their lives. And you know, the main symbol is Dr. King, right? Dr. Martin Luther King, who said on the, the night before he died, I've been to the mountaintop, you know, yeah. Longevity. I mean, I can't say it like Dr. King would say it, but you know, I may have, he knew he was going to die. And he said, I'm going to do it anyway. And to meet, you know, his lawyer, I was in awe. I'm sitting there like,
It's amazing.
this is really you're Dr. King's lawyer.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't know who you were. See, let's go back to Decorations Day. I didn't know about Decorations Day. How you take these people away from us? How can we know? You know, I know every singer, every rapper, every this, every that, every athlete. I don't know nothing about you.
Yeah.
And to get to know him was Lord. That's why I say he in me. He ain't just and lady, you heard Ann's point. He's 95 and he's fired up.
Yeah.
He recently said, I think somebody Johnson was his good friend was telling me that, he's ready to get out and march now. He can't barely. He was he died in an assisted living facility,
Okay.
and he was ready to get back out there on the front line.
Okay.
I mean, the only people I know that were that fired up were him and Jack Jaguar. They ready to go. Like boom, we worked too hard.
Yeah.
And in fact, he said, somebody was telling me, who this is, I think I was talking to David Brown, our accountant. They saw Clarence on some show, and he said, no, we ain't going back. We ain't going back. We don't want back. We're going back. We've come too far to turn back now, all those phrases that they use. And he's an icon. He's all of this. And people, you got to, I told the people at USF, we're going to name something after him. I don't know what it is. Name the kids after him. Name the Marshall. I mean, they got a Black Resource Center up there. We're going to name it the Clarence. Something we're going to come up. But you put these names on things so you don't forget them. And I can't let, people's got to know who Dr. Clarence B. Jones was, the last of the lions. So, and then Lady E, he is such a fun guy to be around. He's a great storyteller. Lady, we're going to show this clip where you asked him, and look, number one, set this up. We set this up. We put out and say Dr. Clarence Jones is coming to the club to talk to the kids. Well, I mean, we usually get, nice group of kids. At night, like the whole community showed up. I mean, it was packed in there, right? It was packed in there to listen to Martin Luther King Jr.'s personal attorney and speechwriter. And at one point, Lady E says to him, tell him about the I Have a Dream. Anyway, you hear yourself, okay? We're going to show this and then we'll come back. All right, here we go.
Mr. Jones, she wants to know, tell us about the I Have a Dream speech.
The speech which he gave at August 28th, 1963, at the March on Washington, there was a prepared written text. And as the book which I wrote, Behind the Dream, The Making of the Speech That Transformed the Nation, what I disclose to people is that I had been discussing with Dr. King and others about what he would say at this speech. And so I had prepared, as I often did, I prepared a suggested text that he should consider using as a guide. So I gave him this suggested text after we had discussions with others at the Willard Hotel. And he took the text up to his suite at the hotel that he had with Coretta. And so the next morning I was told that the speech had been mimeographed, all right? And I was busy with other things and so forth, and I didn't really read the speech carefully, although I was concerned that there'd be sufficient copyright notice. Anyway, he's on the podium giving the speech. And when he's giving the speech, that's the first time I am hearing the speech which he wrote, including the 7 to 9 paragraphs that I had, the opening paragraphs, and his own paragraphs that he had added to it and so forth. And as he's speaking, reading the text, Mahalia Jackson, on the platform, she had sung before. Mahalia Jackson was a famous gospel singer. She shouted out to him. She was his favorite gospel singer. She shouted out to him. She turned to him and said, "Tell him about the dream, Martin. Tell him about the dream." She just shouted, interrupted him while he's speaking. So I'm standing, and by the way, until I heard him read the beginning of the speech, I didn't realize that. I said, "Oh my God, that's the exact same words that he didn't change a word, a sentence, you know." But I didn't. I mean, I was taken aback by that. But then she shouted, "Tell him about the dream," and I watched him take the page, the printed text of the speech, push it to the side, grab the lectern, looked out at these 250,000 people, more than 250,000 people, and I turned to whoever was standing next to me, and I just spontaneously said to them, because I could read his body language, I said, "These people don't know it, but they're about ready to go to church." And that's when he began to speak spontaneously and extemporaneously. The speech which is celebrated as "I Have a Dream" speech was a total extemporaneous, spontaneous speech, not from any written text whatsoever. What I describe in my book is that Martin King had the ability, using computer analogy, he could speak in real time, and while he is speaking in real time, he could mentally cut and paste and insert in his extemporaneous speech the texts of things that he had either written or spoken before. And I know he did that because I could listen to him inserting things that I had written as he's speaking extemporaneously. It was it was like, I've seen him speak many, many times. It was a transcendental experience. It was an out-of-body experience. I had never, ever, and by the way, never again. I know people. I wasn't at the Mason Temple in Memphis, Tennessee. He said profound things. He never spoke a speech any place, any time in his life that was like the "I Have a Dream" speech. It was like he came out of his body. And I think it was because of it was the largest gathering of white and black people in America at that time. Well, it's an extraordinary thing. It's just a panoply of people. You go and look at the television things, it's unbelievable. People. It was just, and so that's how the speech came to be. If you really want a much more definitive answer, then you have to go and read the book.
Oh, what a night, Lady E. You remember that night? The room was full, and did they appreciate? See, that's what I'm talking about. The kids at the club and the community appreciated, applauded, Dr.
You know
Jones.
how long ago that was? Oh my goodness.
I
My
saw your
hair. My hair was not gray. Oh my goodness. I thought, ooh, you weren't bad looking back then. Look at you. He was look at that. Look at Mr. Meacham. Oh my goodness. He was amazing. A panoply of people. The language, the vocabulary, and just the presence. His presence. Yeah, he was wonderful.
And the appreciation. And you said it before, one thing to read about the history. It's another thing to have living history. We were friends with living history. He came to us and loved being there. And it's like, and I remember when it was over, they went up and touched him like they were touching Dr. King. He was so authentic King. He was authentic King. And he talks about, little on, we'll play this thing about how he first met Martin Luther King. But it was glorious for us to be able to, how can I say this? For him to share himself with us and all those kids, and those kids still remember it. I tell you what, Messiah Edwards, one of our graduates,
Right,
who's
right.
in law school at Howard in her second year, getting ready to go in her third year. She sent me a text. She said, "Thank you to Omega, for sharing historical figures like Dr. Jones with us." Right? Yeah, I mean, we don't take these folks for granted. The more you know, the more you owe. And everything that we've done, I know that I've done, has been built on those people, who came before us. So he said, but see, he gave me insight into himself. He said, "You want to hear the rest, you got to buy the book." That was some night, wasn't it, Lady?
It was wonderful. It was wonderful. It was
So
always wonderful at the
thanks
club.
for joining. We're reminiscing, obviously, about the one and only Clarence B. Jones, and just there's only one him. We had him, and I said earlier he was our friend. That's why we're doing this as Street Soldiers family, right?
Yeah.
We're doing this. The other people can come in later. We'll probably do some at USF either. But I wanted to do it with us
Yeah.
because it was such a good friend to the show and a good friend to Alive and Free Omega Boys Club. Your initial thoughts about the one and only Clarence V. Jones?
I'm still hurting. Still hurting that he's in the ancestor realm now. Of course, I'm happy for him. He deserves it. He earned it.
Yep.
He lived a long, amazing life. I'm sad for the rest of us that have to be here without him. Because what a man. We talked about it during the week. Lady E, he just had all the things that he did, all the bio and, accomplishments. I'm just going to put that to the side. Just, you said the word, just being in his presence.
Yep.
We've met a lot of people through Alive and Free over these years. He's at the top of the mountain right there.
Oh yeah.
He's just one of the greatest human beings I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. His presence was such a force of nature, such force in his presence, such love in his presence, such energy and vitality for being alive and using his gift that God had blessed him with. And you couldn't help but be inspired by being around somebody like that. You can't help but be fired up after spending 1 minute with Clarence Jones. It's just an incredible blessing to be around him. And then we were able to have him on the KMEL airwaves. And I mean, he had people stopped in their cars, like just stuck listening. He had the whole Bay Area just froze. Because once he got going, like we say, Doc, clear out and let him take the ball and go to the hole. Just get out the way. Because once he got going, you could feel like the avalanche starting to, you could kind of like with you, Lady E, when you get going, don't get in the way. Let them cook. And when he got going, it's like you could feel the heavens opening up. You could just feel it pouring out of his heart and coming through you. And so blessed that I was able to be in the presence of such a great man. Just thank you, Dr. Jones, for inspiring me to be a better human being and to be in the fight until I take my last breath. Just thank you so much. The other thing I think about him is, I think he came on the air one time and he taught me how to do this. He really loved himself, which is, probably the basis of why he was able to share so much love and joy, because he really valued and loved himself. But I remember at the time he would talk about his pep talks. Joe, Malcolm, I get in the mirror and I say, look, Clarence, oh, you handsome man, look at you. I mean, like he would know how to hype himself up. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start talking to myself like that. I had never heard anyone say it like that, but he said it with such force and such conviction.
That's something his mother told him when he was young. He said, "You look in the mirror and you say, look at yourself. I'm beautiful. I could do, I mean, his mom taught that, and he just did that for the rest of his
I can
life.
just get you hear his voice.
Yeah.
Joe, I told you, you look in the mirror and not tell you. It was fired up. Like we said the other day, ain't nobody more. The only person we know as fired up as Clarence Jones is Jack Jacqua. Okay.
Yep.
Like when it comes to fired up, there's here and then there's.
But I've got to add, while he is firing himself up, because he brings the fire.
Yeah.
Once he gets started, because he's got the fire. In a minute, it's coming out.
Yep.
But he lifts up everybody around him in the process. You could just feel yourself rising with him.
Yep.
He doesn't just go up alone. He brings you up with him.
He also, Doc, had that old black man, like, I'm going to say what I'm going to say, and you ain't going to tell me nothing that I can't say. You know what I mean? And I just, Lord Jesus, let me be that man one day. Let me live long enough to get there. Because
I ain't the man, but I got that.
The freedom that he had. You wasn't gonna stop him. He was gonna tell the truth. Period.
Yeah, Malcolm said, and he was hilarious. He was such a fun person to be around. He was a character, but not a character. He had so much character, and his character was so much fun to be around. And you're right, it was love. It was go. And Malcolm likes to tell us. He said, "Dad, you the only person. Dr. Jones is the only person other than your father, but this way." And you would just say, what would he say? Yo, Marshall, you did that. I said, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, he'll turn you into a little boy in a minute. You'll be like, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. And I do want to say this too. He wasn't afraid.
No.
Or if he was, at some point he overcame it. Like everyone is afraid to a certain extent, but he didn't let the fear stop him or paralyze him. And I say that because, it bothers me when I hear, or I understand what people are saying. Actually, I don't understand it anymore. When people say, oh, if I would have been at that time, I would have been more Malcolm and less Martin. I would have been the real something. I would have been, as if somehow the Martin side were these soft, meek people who, was just going along and too afraid. Y'all are tripping when you say that. And it really, because Clarence Jones wasn't afraid of anything.
And he learned that from Dr. King, because his words about the King was, he might have been afraid, but he was fearless. He was fearless.
Fearless, yes.
He walked in, when they walked together into literally, like it says in the Bible, Daniel and the lions, then they were fearless because they felt they were protected, by the higher power. They were guided. There was a spiritual connection. And Clarence didn't always believe in that. It took him a while. Like, Clarence had fought in the Korean War, and he's like, I ain't with this nonviolent stuff, and he had to learn that from Dr. King. So we got all of that. We got all of that experience when we had met him, and he had been through the fire, literally, and he brought all that with him, and he was so authentic, Dr. King. It was just, you're right. Authenticity was Clarence. I mean, from everything about it. And you're right, lady. He brought you with you, but you was like he was ready to get up and yeah, I understand that. I understand. I'm very clear about what you did. Not only what you were trying to do, what you did. And I love you and appreciate you. Let me throw a quick shout out before we go back to another clip. Lady, you want to say something? I want to give a shout out to Steph Curry, who became a very, very good friend, also of Clarence Jones, and actually had produced a film at right
Has
before.
it come out yet?
Yeah, it's a short film about Clarence Jones was at Sundance. All right, and he earned a Sundance Star. I think it was in February, or maybe no, it's been after
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Was it February?
Mhm.
Film Festival recognition. It was called The Baddest Speechwriter of All. Short film that he co-produced and co-directed, and it captured the grand jury prize at the festival's short film awards in Utah. So I've got to see that because I haven't seen it, right? And Steph said, "Thank you, Sundance, for opening up space for us to tell Clarence's story. It's needed right now, and I know that his life and his work will continue to impact so many people and continue to impact cultures. So thank you for this, and we're going to share it with the world." So I'm going to say thank you, Steph Curry. And I've been with Steph and Clarence at the same time, and it was pretty cool. Very, very cool. And it's rare that an athlete, especially some of the Steph's stature, becomes involved with our icons like that. So, but that doesn't surprise me because it is Steph. We got another clip. Lay, you want to see something for you? Another clip? We got another one. Okay, this is one where he said he was going to be with Alive and Free and Street Soldiers for the rest of his life, and he was. That's the second one. That was 3, and let's go to the one that was I had for number 3. Let's make that one the number 2, and we'll come back and we'll talk.
Radio?
You know which one? It's not the radio. It's the other.
The class.
In the classroom.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Let's take a quick look.
You think I just come up here one time? You have not heard the last of me. Listen. You know what I told Mr. Marshall? I'm gonna tell you what I told him. I said if he didn't exist, I would invent him and create him. That's what I told him. And one of the reasons I'm here is that I'm a wordsmith. A wordsmith. I take words literally. I mean, I use words like an artist paints a canvas. The more you know, the more you owe. So I said to myself, damn, I know a lot. I really know a lot I've gotten from this journey. But the other side of that means I owe a lot. So I'm not going to let him be in San Francisco by himself, and I'm going to be down in Stanford talking. No. We're going to do things together. Okay? Because I want your brother and your sisters and your friends and so forth. You know how I want to live a long time? I want to live a long time when I can look and see someone else sitting where you're sitting. And I can see somebody I can come back in a few years. I don't know your name, but I can say, Dr. Marshall, you know that young man that was sitting here? So forth. And I said, where is he? Dr. Marshall said, oh, he went on and he did this and so forth. And I'll say, yeah. And I say, Dr. Marshall, you see that young lady sitting there? So forth. And you say, Dr. Marshall, where? And I say, okay. Please, don't let me spend my waning years being foolish. Please let me do something. Please give me the opportunity to take what I know and give it back to you because I owe, because that's what Martin Luther King Jr. would want me to do. Had he lived, he would have been 82 years old. He died he was killed at the age of 39. He did not have the benefit of having the longevity that I have. So I damn sure I'm not going to waste it and prostitute it. without doing something. So when I leave and go out of here, I'm going to know I did something based on the more I know, the more I owe. And so I want to spend the rest of my years with Mr. Marshall. Payback. This is Clarence Jones payback time. Do I have a witness?
Y'all see what I'm talking about, lady? You see the look on Doc's face? He looked like he was 7 years old. Like, I've never seen my father look like that before. I just had to say the world. It really hit me watching that clip, what Clarence Jones did for you.
Okay.
On a personal level. Like, he poured something into you, Doc. You're a different person because of that, man. And I'm so happy for you.
Well, I said before, other people that I've met, you know, obviously, they're part of me. But I would say Clarence Jones is in me.
Yes. You in that moment right there, he put it inside you. He like anointed you. You know, it was deep. That was a really deep clip right there.
And I remember he says in another thing that one of the great things he told me, he said, Dr. King would love what you're doing. I said, really? Yeah, he loved what you're doing. Because, you know, he believed in working with Elisa D. And so, you know, it was like, damn, you know, what else can I say? You know, I mean, so then I wanted to do so much for him, getting him to come to USF. Because when I met him, he was down at Stanford and languishing. I mean, Stanford didn't even recognize what they had. And that made me mad. It really did. You got Martin Luther King's attorney, the man.
But you deserved that, Doc.
Oh, I
you deserved it.
I said, I'm taking you somewhere where you can be recognized. I mean, the university did nothing with him. They had a bungalow, right? And it wasn't even, look, they got the Hoover Institute and all of that down there, but you got Clarence Jones. So I said, look, let me take you up to the city. I set up something with Ed Lee at the time and had a nice thing at City
Mayor of
Hall.
San Francisco. Yeah. Former
And I
mayor.
took him over to USF and I said, and then they said, ooh, and they made him, they made Clarence, they treated him like a rock star. They treated that man like a rock star. They gave him an endowed chair. I mean, a chair. I can't remember the exact name. He taught classes. They ended up putting an institute together, Institute of Nonviolence and Social Justice. He was literally celebrated and feted, F-E-T-E-D, the way he should have been at Stanford. And you know, he always say, he would tell people, Joe Marshall got me here. Joe Marshall got me here. Joe got me here. I wouldn't be whatever it is, you know. And I was just so happy to do that for him, man. Because you don't know what you got. This man's a treasure. He's a national treasure. So, yeah, and he's, you know, and yeah, and you know, I saw his health go down, but we'd still get together and have lunch and have. Here's something. Here's something, man.
There's certain moments you have in life, and at least I do, and be like, well, if today's my last day, I can't complain. I did pretty good. You know, that was something good. Some good things happened to me, and that looked like one of those moments. Watching him pour into you like that, because I know the journey with Alive and Free longer than anybody here. I've seen you on the journey, and when there were no cameras, and when nobody was watching, and when nobody cared, and when it was just you doing it just because. So after all those years to have that kind of, to be seen like that is what an amazing thing.
But you know, it's about answering the call, answering your calling. And you know, I had mine after I read the autobiography, and I had to answer it, and I had to get somebody to say, literally back then in 1988, and a guy named Ronnie Hatter, you might know, because I didn't quite know what I had been called to do, and he had to say, "Oh man, you've been chosen, right?" And he told me, somebody had to say, yeah, you can work with these young people. And after somebody said that to me, and I accepted it, and Clarence had to do the same thing, because Clarence had to answer the calling. And Dr. King set him up. Lady, you know the story about Dr. King setting him up, right?
Yeah, I know that he was not willing. He was not willing. He was not feeling it. Dr. King definitely had to put it on him, and only in the way that only Dr. King could.
So we
And
got
somebody probably put it on Dr. King. No, that's the thing.
Oh yeah, because Dr.
know?
King wasn't trying to do that either.
That's right.
No, he wasn't.
yes, you have to accept the calling.
You gotta accept it.
You know, you have to accept it. So I don't know, man, we got enough time to show this. Let's go to the second part. And now the tough thing about this is I'm the only one people see. But go back to the old studio, and this is about 10 minutes long, but it's him telling the story about Martin Luther King, meeting Martin Luther King for the first time. So go to 32:14. Okay. Hey, did you see DC?
Yep.
Yeah.
Everybody look young.
Here you go. All right.
Oh my
All right,
goodness.
we are back. Alive and Free Radio Street Soldiers. We are celebrating the birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who we just were told would be 90 years young had he still been alive this year. Our guest is, well, Dr. Clarence B. Jones. I'm going to read all this, but let me just say speechwriter and lawyer to Martin Luther King Jr., authentic.
Political advisor, you got all that.
I got all that. But this is for the audience. You know I ain't got to do that, brother. Look, man, author of 2 books. Because people should read the books.
Oh, you don't need to go all that. No,
what would Martin say, Behind the Dream?
It was valuable time on his birthday, man. It's valuable time. First of all, just to update, if anybody needs to be in touch with me, I'm at the University of San Francisco.
Yep.
I'm in the last few months of 2018, I created with the help and assistance of several other people, the board of directors and so forth, the Gandhi King Institute for Nonviolence and Social Justice, and it is located at the University of San Francisco.
Yep.
So it's a constituent part of the University of San Francisco. Anybody wants to get in touch with me about the Institute or at the Institute, you just call the University of San Francisco, and they'll put you in touch with me or with the persons who are, managing the Institute. In any event, Joe, you asked me about my early days with Dr. King.
Yes, that story I read was just so wonderful.
All right.
How you first
I'll try
met
to do it as briefly as possible. In 1960, I was 29 years old. Dr. King was 31 years old. In February 1960, he had been indicted by the state of Alabama for tax evasion and perjury relying on his state income tax return. And he was represented by a superb group of lawyers. His chief counsel was an African-American judge in New York by the name of Hubert Delaney, and he had 2 other tax lawyers from Chicago, Robert Ming and Robert Layton. One was the lawyer for the state of Illinois, IRS, and state, they were tax specialists. And then at that time, a young lawyer in Alabama by the name of Fred Gray, who since became famous and eventually a judge in the state of Alabama Supreme Court. So Judge Delaney called me on a Thursday evening. He says, Clarence, that Negro preacher in Alabama? Well, I'm his chief counsel. I'm his chief defense counsel, and I'm calling you because I need you to go and coordinate the preparation of the research of the legal defense. Now, the problem is, although I'd recently 7.5 or 6.5 months earlier graduated from Boston University Law School, I was in California starting a law practice in entertainment law and copyright, musical copyright infringement, all that stuff. So when he first called me, I thought he was talking about, going to the law library locally. And then he said, no, you got to go to Alabama. That's where I need you. I need you to go down and do all the coordinate. And I said, Judge, I love you, I respect you, but I simply can't do that. Well, he was crestfallen. And so that was on a Thursday night. Early the next day, Friday morning, the phone call again, but this time it was Judge Delaney, Hubert Delaney. He says, Clarence, at the time of our conversation last night, I did not know that Dr. King has a speaking engagement in Los Angeles. And he's in the air right now. He's on the plane. And I told him to take advantage and to change the time, that the first thing he should do when he lands in Los Angeles is to call you and arrange to come out and see you. And I thought to myself, I said, oh, no, I'd already told the judge I couldn't do it. You got to understand that in 1960, Dr. King had already been on the cover of Life, looked at Time magazine. But that wasn't my thing. So anyway, fast forward, Friday night, I was living in Altadena, California, right, a suburb of Los Angeles. Friday night, and my doorbell rings, and there's Martin Luther King Jr. there with a colleague of his, Bernard Lee. And he comes into my home, and he says, Attorney Jones, I was just starting out as a lawyer. He says, Judge Delaney's told me so much about you, and blah, blah, blah. And we sat down at my wife at the time, she's now deceased. We had this nice home in Altadena, California. He came and sat right down and was very direct. He says, Mr. Jones, we have lots of young white lawyers helping us from the Northeast and the Midwest. He said, but what we need are young Negro lawyers like you to help us in our struggle struggling for our freedom in the South. And blah, 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 blah. And I said, well, Dr. King, I really appreciate and respect what you're doing, and Judge Delaney and so forth and so forth. But, as I said to Judge Delaney, I simply can't. I can't go down and assist Judge Delaney in coordinating the legal research and the defense of your case. I simply can't do that. And so he was crestfallen. So he asked me some questions about myself, and I said, well, I was an only child. My parents were domestic household servants, and when I was born, they didn't have a home of their own. I had to sleep in the servants' quarters where they lived, the place where they worked. And then when I was about 6 years old, my parents put me in a Catholic boarding school raised for indigent colored boys, and I was raised by Irish nuns from the age of 6 to 14. And then I graduated from high school and went on to college. And I, told them my mother died at the age of 52. She never saw me graduate from college or law school. Never saw anything. I was fast forwarding him and so forth. And he leaves. And my wife at the time says, what do you think you are doing is so important that you can't help this man that came all this time? They help ask for your assistance. So I said, no, that's not true. Judge Delaney told him about me, but he didn't come out to see me. He had a speaking engagement out here in Los Angeles and a lot of other commitments, and then I got annoyed. I said, besides, just because some Negro preacher got his hand caught in the cookie jar stealing, that ain't my problem, And so that was Friday night. Next morning, I got another call. This is Saturday morning. The voice on the end of the phone is dripping with saccharine sweet. Mr. Jones, yes, my name is Dora McDonald. I'm Dr. King's personal secretary. And Mr. Jones, he so enjoyed his visit with you and Mrs. Jones. He forgot to invite you to come hear him preach tomorrow, the next day, Sunday, at a Baptist church in Baldwin Hills. So I go to Baldwin Hills. Now, I had never heard Dr. King speak, never saw the man speak or anything. So the resident minister was Reverend H.B. Charles, had a large, big Baptist church right in the heart of Baldwin Hills, the heart of the Negro bourgeoisie, And Dr. King, after he's introduced by the resident minister, gets up and says, brothers and sisters, he says, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, the text of my sermon today is the role and responsibility of the Negro professional to aid their less fortunate brothers and sisters who are struggling for their freedom in the South.
Oh, my God.
So I thought to myself, now this is one smart dude. He came to Beverly Hills. He came to the Baldwin Hills. He came to the center of the black intelligentsia. Now, as I said, I never heard him speak, never saw him speak before. He spoke, never heard a human being with two legs and arms. He was mesmerizing. It was spellbinding. I never heard any human person speak like that before. In the middle of this, he was pauses and he says, and for example, there's a young man sitting in this church this morning. My friends in New York, my lawyer friends in New York, they tell me this young man, a young lawyer, that his brains have been touched by Jesus. So I thought, I'm curious because I know that bears no rational relationship to me. They tell me that this young Negro lawyer, that when he goes into the law library and does any legal research on any problem, he goes all the way back to the time of 1066 and William the Conqueror, and the Magna Carta. And then my friends in New York tell me when this lawyer writes down what he finds, the words are so compelling, they just jump off the page. Now, that's when I started thinking, since that doesn't bear any rational relationship to me, I started thinking, when this church service is over, I'm going to find out who this dude is. Because if he's that good, I need to know him, right? And then he said, but you know, I had a chance to meet this young lord the other night. His home in Altadena, California. I said, oh Lord, you know, I wanted to sink down in the church pews so nobody would see me. And then Dr. King did something very unfair. There's a poem by the Negro poet and author Langston Hughes, an actual poem. The poem, the title of the poem is Life Ain't Been No Crystal Stair.
Yes.
By Langston Hughes. You can go online, look at that, okay? Now, in the actual poem, Langston Hughes writes about this Negro domestic. She's scrubbing these staircase, somebody's house, and she pauses periodically. And she says, I'm doing this for you, son. She's speaking about her son. I'm doing this for you, son. Don't you give up. Life ain't been no crystal stair. So when Dr. King did that, I had a video picture of my mother in her, blue dress and white apron and all that. And I started crying in my seat because I had a picture of my mother as a domestic person. And so he said, now, his mother, he said something like, I don't think that his mother, what I told him, what I had learned about him, I'm not so sure his mother would be too proud of him. He has forgotten from whence he came. That's what he said.
Ooh.
I said, oh, Lord. He has forgotten from whence he came. So I'm shook to the very foundations. I'm crying. I've been crying I was crying in my seat. Church service is over. Told you, very popular. So he's standing on the pulpit, standing on the chairs, the steps to the pulpit of this church. And as I go over to him near the pulpit, he says, I never mentioned your name, Mr. Jones. I never mentioned your name. As I got to him, he said, sometimes we Baptist preachers, I never mentioned your name. I just walked over to him. I didn't say a word to him. As soon as I got up to him, I grabbed his, I took my left hand. I can never forget this as long as I lived. Took my left hand and grabbed his right arm and shoulder, pulled him to me, and I said, Dr. King, when do you want me to go to Montgomery, Alabama? And that's what I wrote in my book. I call it The Making of a Disciple. Now, let me just.
Wow. I love that vignette about Lady E. That is priceless. That is, I that speaks for itself. That speaks for itself. He answered the call. He answered the calling, and it's so appropriate because we use a lot of historical poetry with the kids, and life ain't been no crystal stair. Langston Hughes, one of the great poems ever, and I there's certain lines I don't want to say it because I know I'm going to mess up a line in there, but that hit Clarence. And it was funny. He said, who was he talking about? Who was he talking about? And he went up and said, Dr. King, I'm going to Alabama with you. And that, wow. That's the story. That's the story. And it's all in his books. And yeah. And there's a lot more to his life when you get a chance to, to cover tonight. You mentioned that going into Attica, being asked by the Attica prisoners in the Attica prison to come in, the only one they wanted to talk to was Clarence Jones. And he went in and, got out. They said, he came in here in good faith because, you get down in that hole with all them brothers who got guns. And Attica was a horrible, horrible, horrible story. Prison riot, the way it ended. His own life as an investment banker, before joined Dr. King. And then he knew Malcolm X. He tried to arrange a meeting between Malcolm. He knew so many people. But, it certainly is his work with Dr. King that he will be, lionized for, the last of the lion. So you guys can have the last few. I think, he would have liked what was said about him tonight. Malcolm, Lady E, go right ahead.
It's hard to say much after that story we just heard. Just thank you, Clarence, Dr. Clarence, Mr. Jones. Thank you for blessing us with your spirit. You're in us, and we gonna pass it on to other folks, and you'll always be here. Your spirit will always be here, alive on this planet. So, thank you, brother.
Lady E.
The thing that comes to me are the lyrics to a song, which I think fit him perfectly. If I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or song, if I can show somebody he is living wrong, he is traveling wrong, then my living shall not be in vain. So to Dr. Clarence B. Jones, your living has not, will not ever be in vain. Thank you. And we thank you, and we are grateful to God who sent you, touched you, turned your head around to make a difference in all the lives that you have touched and changed. It's not been in vain.
Clarence, thank you for being you.
Yeah, we lift you up.
Okay, everybody. All right, get back to work tomorrow and dedicated to Clarence Jones. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Good night. See you next week, Street Soldier.